God bless everybody today. It's May 25th of 2021. It is 9:35 a.m. Central Time. We're going to talk a little more. This is the fourth update on the Bitcoin crash and how it's going to affect the markets as we move forward into the near future. We are definitely at a pinnacle that's going to change the markets and how we look at things as we move forward in the next few weeks. But let's get into that here in a second. You can always find my eschatology information, my articles, videos, all my different things at endofdayssurvival.com. It's got all my charts and timelines, flow charts, videos, everything down here. But let's move right to this conversation of Bitcoin because it is going to change the world. It is restructuring the dollar to where it's not the fiat currency anymore. This will be an exchange from dollar to crypto. And as the central banks start to lose control of inflation, bond rates and other things, they're going to have to start to do major things like they're going to have to stop tapering. They're going to have to raise the interest rates and things like that to try to slow this madness down. But they're not going to get this done because the Fed's always behind the ball, and it takes time to get these types of structural reforms to go through the system. So let's see what Bitcoin's doing and why I believe we're in a really bad place at this point, and probably this is going to be a major downturn in the next 8 to 12 hours at the most. I'm showing that within the next 4 to 8 hours, we are at a major pinnacle point. There's an apex, a major apex with two major boundaries are coming up. And so let me show you that on the actual chart. So if you look at Bitcoin's 4-hour chart, I got to check my charts because Doge and Bitcoin look almost alike. So I've got to really pay attention to my charts here. So I'm not talking out of chart, but they basically are going to do the same thing. Doge and Bitcoin are basically tracking together. They're mirroring each other, which means this is a manipulation of the market somehow. This is not organic in any way. This is all artificial. We're seeing massive spikes to do certain things. What I'm seeing, though, is we're walking into this apex, and it looks flat on this as I have got it blown. I'm showing you a closer view of this, and so once we blow this out, you're going to see what I mean. We're now, this is a 4-hour candle. It's got an hour and 21 minutes left, and then you're going to get another candle, and that one's going to be a 4-hour candle, and so you're walking into this hole, or these two sets of walls, into this place where it's going to have to make a decision. Now, it has an hour and 21 minutes to decide whether this wants to move up due to volume sales, but as you can see, the sales volume is way down, and so there's no volume to keep this elevated. And so what this would have to do is one of two things. It's either going to have to bounce up and then move up, which would be extremely important since it is in the two major walls. Now, this is the biggest wall, okay? These walls here, once they get into here, this is the main low resistance. And this is the high resistance, okay? So if it bounces down, it'll go negative and it will keep following this trench, okay? If it moves up, and it has to make a decision right now, it's not higher than the last high. If this was higher than this, and we were up here, then it would have a much easier chance to move uphill, but it hasn't. It's been moving downhill. It is trying to come back up and live, but you'll notice if you go into the charts, these are starting to bend down, okay? And that's a bad sign. Even though it's a green candle, this could turn red. It still could maintain a green form with low volume between high and sell, so this could shrink maybe. The candle could lose a little bit of its thickness here. and then drive this down, or it could spike up. A tweet could spike this up and change everything. Changes this thing by 3 or 4 cents, but then it would only spike up a certain amount, and then it would come down because the overall trajectory of this chart is down. Okay, so let's look at that. Excuse me. So when May 13th hit, I believe it was May 13th or 12th. I don't remember exactly when Musk tweeted and damaged Bitcoin anymore. I have too many dates floating in my head. But when he damaged this and it started to move this down, okay, it's still in this downward trajectory. It would have to move this arm up a lot, almost parallel and over the top of this 50, 55, 57 barrier, and then move either, similar pattern here and then go back up or come back down because it's trying to test resistances. But based on the trajectory, this is, a pretty steep angle. It's got a lot of work to bring this back out of this hole. And so my guess is that we're going to see a major downtrend, and then it will keep moving down. If you go into these charts and you look, and it'll flatten itself out as you move in here. This point, which we're at now, I'll try to go in here so you can see them. It's really hard to do. This point of 39,856, or around that point, is not higher than the last point of last high prior to that, which was 38,000. I said 38,600 would be a level where it would have to move over so that we could start to change this trajectory. Now, it looks like the plane's starting to leave, come back up and pull up, but you'll notice that the plane's really struggling against this wall, and it looks like the standard moving average and actually all the averages look like they're all trending, basically moving down, and it's just going to keep bending these lines down to this point. So this is a very slow bleed. There is going to be a point in time where people realize this is not improving, and if it's at 38,000 now, the next step down could be 34, 33, and then it could just be stepping down more and more and more. You will get to the point where I keep saying, now this is Bitcoin. I don't expect Bitcoin to crash. But I do expect it to maybe hit close to 20,000, okay? And it's going to walk into what I call a major apex here in the next, I don't know, by May 29th, about midnight-ish. We got that blood moon coming in tomorrow on May 26th. You got a weekend event, or, it's leading up to this blood moon event coming into the weekend of the Memorial Day weekend. You've got a closed holiday Monday in the markets. And so by the time they realize this, you could be pretty close to 25,000 Bitcoin here, and moving down into the 20. And if you move to 25,000 Bitcoin and below, it'll hit that fear factor at 25,000. It'll start dropping, at least spike down, and then maybe come back. If it goes down much below 20,000, 17.5 probably be your next major zone. That's going to cause a real problem because it breaks through that wall. It has nothing to hold it up, and so it's just going to keep falling. And so Bitcoin below 17.5, 17,500, that's definitely going to be a totally different change on everything. Doge is no different in its look. It also is at a point of inflection. Let me see if I can show you that. So this is Doge on 30 minutes. And you can see we are again moving into an apex within, by 6:30 this evening. We're going to see it have to come in here and it's going to make a decision. And if you blow this chart out, this isn't any prettier than Doge because everything's moving down. This high is not higher than this high. And so we're moving down. If you go to the 4-hour chart, you'll notice that we're in the same. It looks the same, guys. I mean, all I can tell you is that Bitcoin and Doge look the same, and that's why it's hard to map these things out and realize what chart you're on. So as we see, as Doge here, it's in the same thing. It looks exactly like Bitcoin. Okay, look at that. We're in the same hole. May come up a little sooner. Doesn't look like it. It's about the same distance and gap. It has the same structure of the red candle and the green candle, as you can see. And it also is moving down. Looks like it's trying to trend down. The green candle is not higher. Depending on how this next candle opens up, it's going to force it down. These trend lines are starting to move down. All the standard deviations and EMAs are all moving down. So, it's going to hit this apex. And then it's going to hit what I call a major apex, because as you blow this out, you're going to realize that you're going to then find the last apex, which is about here. Okay, and so if you blow that up and you walk into that, we're still into this, May 26th to June 1st event I've been talking about, and how you get into the Memorial Day weekend, the shutdown of Memorial Day weekend on the markets, and how it's going to affect you as you move into next week. If you go to the 4-hour chart and you blow this back out, you'll realize this has a major amount. I mean, there's resistance zones as we move up here to try to get it here. You got a major resistance zone of 37.5. You got a major resistance zone at about 42.5. You got a major resistance zone at 47. Okay. And then you got another major resistance zone to push it over 50, which is going to be extremely important. This would have to correct 16 cents out of 50 on Doge alone. Okay. And if you move this into Bitcoin's world and blow this out to the 50 zone, or 50,000, 55,000 level where this is, it has to be to get it back to square one. You're at 37,000. You got a haul. This is a major haul to get this market back up, and it will drag the whole market down. There is no way around this. This is a major apex. This will determine its path down next. It will happen shortly in the next few hours. You'll be able to see this downtrend, or whether it actually starts to break out, because it has no momentum and it's just crawling up the ladder here a little. As you can see, there was no real bounce. It's just been slowly, and then it hit this wall, which has been here for a while. And now it's slowly trending back down under this thing. So if it had bounced and then bounced back up, it'd be one thing. But this is just trenching further down. Anyway, I just wanted to go over with this. I'm not going to keep beating these charts up. It looks ugly. I expect to see it break down severely in the next 3 to 5 days. By next weekend, as we move into Tuesday, about this time next week, we'll be looking at this picture, I believe, completely differently. God bless everyone. Find the open door. This is the time to get right with God. Find the sun. Jesus is the only open door. He's the only way to get to heaven. You have to find the sun to get to heaven. To get out of this madness, to not be judged in the book of life, be thrown in the lake of fire, which is where your destination will be. Just as we're falling in the pit of hell on this chart, you could be falling in the pit of hell in the next few years as things start to break down. You make really bad decisions because you really don't know what's going on out here. At least most of the people don't. You go ask them, they don't know about any of this stuff. They don't know anything about cryptocurrencies. They don't know anything about biblical ramifications of real-time data that's coming in and how it's going to affect us as we move forward. They don't see Erdogan in a march against Israel and how he's going to form 10 Muslim nations in the next few years to destroy them. They don't see the ramifications of Daniel 8:1 through 10 that state clearly that once the Kurds or the Medes are pushed down into Iraq, move down to Iran or towards Iran and get pushed and pulled between Baghdad and Shush, Iran, along the Ulai River in the province of Elam in the next year or less. I'm saying within the next 6 to 8 months at best, probably. I've said for a while this fall. So I'm trying to extend this out, but I'm not seeing that improving over in the Middle East. It's just ramping up. So I'm thinking that by the end of this year, Iran won't exist. How will that geopolitically change this whole structure of what we see in front of us right now as we are having a death fall in the markets as we speak? Will they rebound before that? Yes. Will the markets change the structure of the currencies? Yes, it's happening as we speak. If you do not think the cryptocurrencies are going to be the wave of the future, you do not understand what is coming and how the beast system is going to morph us into a situation we can't get out of. And there's going to be a point in time where you're going to just have to bail from all systems, even this one. You know, I'm in cryptos right now, but that doesn't mean that I have to be able to stay here, because once the system breaks down and converts to a B system, I can't be here anymore and I'll have to cash out. Okay? Just that simple. So find Jesus, find that small open door. This wealth that we're building in crypto is only to put oil in your lamp to get you to the end. It is not here to potentially compel you into a future that has a history for your potential grandchildren as we move forward, because I don't see this ending up well in the next 6 years. So if that is the case, man, I'm wrong, and this is no advice to you. I don't want you to take my advice financially, because I'm not a financial advisor and I don't even want to try to be one. But you have to look at these trends and you have to protect yourself. You have to diversify into commodities like gold, silver, mostly silver, cryptocurrencies against inflation that's coming, and that your fiat currencies won't be of any value before long. And if you look back in World War II, you'll realize that some of these countries could take baskets of money in and couldn't buy a loaf of bread. So that's what you're up against. So how do you hedge against that? You put food in your home. You do all the things that I've been talking about, the main necessities. And then we worry about how to finish this story out. And it's all going to get ugly before it's done. If you all think you're going to probably get to the end of the story, that's going to be a hard trough. And it'll be a really cool thing to see, not necessarily to go through. But some of us will make it all the way to the end. There's going to be a point in time where we all wake up someday and realize that we're at the very end. And the rapture will come someday on the seventh trumpet. But that's a ways from now. I've been talking about October 2nd and 3rd of 2027 for a long time. And I believe that is your end game. So you have to work your days back from that, and June 30th is the start of your 2,300 days, so that's a good marker to look at. Anyway, I've probably beat this up more than I should. I'm going to keep updating this. I believe this is going to turn as we speak. It is turning already. The turn is down. It may pop out, but then it will catch itself on this top level and then come back down, because that is the last potential trough or trench that it can hit, and then it will still trend down. See, the trend is down. I don't care. You're going to end up at 20,000 Bitcoin no matter how this goes. The further it comes up and then keeps moving down, changes your timeline out. Okay? Right now, your timeline is extremely short. Okay? Because your apexes are here. We will see how this turns out. Right now, I'm showing May 29th on Bitcoin to really start to be a structural problem. And if you move out to the main apex of, you know, this is good. This is just, there's just nothing here to look at that's good. But anyway, find God, get right with Jesus, and God bless you, everybody.